As notice of the regular meeting, Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners, Willacy County Navigation District. The date is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, and it is about 9:06 a.m. Place is here at 400 West Hidalgo, Suite 200, Raymondville, Texas. Public notice is given that the commission may go into executive session at any time during the meeting to discuss matters listed on the agenda when authorized to do so by the provisions of section 418.183 or chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. In the event the commission elects to go into executive session regarding any other agenda items, the presiding officer will publicly announce the section or sections of the Texas Government Code authorizing the executive session. Okay, review, let the record show that Commissioner Kendricks, Commissioner Reyes, Commissioner Cavazos, and Commissioner Trevino are present. We do have a quorum. Item number 1 on the agenda, review and consideration of previous meeting minutes.
Move to accept the minute.
Motion made by Commissioner Kendricks to accept the minutes, second by Commissioner Reyes. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public comments. Do we have public comments?
The first one.
We have six people signed up. We have three. You have 3 minutes to present. As a reminder, we cannot respond to you. Jason
Graham.
Graham, son, I'm so sorry. Jason?
All right,
There you go.
we started off right. That's me. Y'all don't get it, do you? And I apologize for the profanity. It's gonna get much, much worse. Is that okay? Everybody's cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, uptown New York, clubbing hard women. Almost drowned in so I swam till all fall. Do I need to stop?
Pardon?
Do I need to stop?
I think you probably should.
No.
Keep going? Wait a-
I think
You tell
let
me.
me,
tell them what you're talking about.
Tell them what you're talking about.
Flanking on us.
Freedom of speech.
Profanity?
Freedom of
Yes,
speech.
which is
Freedom of
considered disorderly
speech.
conduct if they find it inappropriate.
Okay, so, all right, hey,
The rest of it.
no problem. I'll leave these, I'll leave these here with y'all. This is, I mean, it's 7 pages of my speech, but I'll leave them here so y'all can read it. Is that okay? All right, so I'll carry on without the first part of my speech. But this is what comes from Blues Bar and Grill. This is what Chad Kinney and Ron Mills approve of. This is for the public in the harbor of Port Mansfield, Texas. Chad's Marina is 10 yards from a public boat ramp, and it is 50 yards from a public fishing dock. So when I came to Port Mansfield a few years back, I started hearing some crazy stories from the locals. Stories of corruption about the local police and their bosses, which Chad Kinney and Ronald Mills. And I didn't believe it. And I honestly didn't care because I was here to fish, and that's it. But then a loud bar opened up across the harbor for me, disturbing the peace of everyone in and around the harbor. And I talked to my neighbors, and they said, that's Chad Kinney. He does what he wants here. They refused to speak out. They feared retaliation. Retaliation from the local police. I still didn't believe it. Well, I've had a few years here now, and I've had the pleasure of watching what these people already know. And now I am a believer. I have called the police to report issues for 2 years now, and my neighbors have watched as we were all punished for standing up. The music got louder, the profanity got worse. Then on September 28, 2024, again, I contacted the Port Mansfield Police to report the noise and disturbance of the peace. Chief Mays did exactly what I expected. He was in attendance at Blues Bar, and the owners encouraged Chief to make a call. So Chief Mays called and ordered Officer Ortiz to issue me a citation. For what? Disorderly conduct, noise. So if I'm guilty, then I would appear before a judge and I would be sentenced for my crimes. But I'm not guilty, and I'm not going to see a judge. That is because, and Chief knows why, because he still holds the citation. He won't take it to the judge. He hasn't delivered it still. He refused to come see me. So now we move on to this past
You got
weekend.
5 seconds, sir.
Well, I could talk for 3 days, so I guess I'll come back and give 3 more minutes. But we were woke up again, kept up till midnight.
Time's up.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Leave
Jason.
these here for y'all. Y'all did take some of my minutes.
John King?
Thank you very much. I'd like to extend my thanks to the Navigation District for providing me a copy of my lease. As a leaseor and a leasee, what that was. I must say I'm an old Texan. I've been around for a lot of years. I graduated Texas A&M Class 64. I'm 82 years old. We built our homestead on one of these so-called lease, well, actually 3 lease plots. Within the umbrella of the old Texas property code, I'd like to find out, because of the lease agreement that I was provided by the district, thank you very much, did not identify just who in the world owns that dirt. No one did. It's not mentioned. I would like to request to the board a copy of the ownership document for that property. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is it when
Miller Bosler.
Miller?
Yes, sir. Well, my handwriting never has been very good. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the concerned citizens of Port Mansfield, I'm delivering these remarks. In the most recent WCND election, the people of Willacy County Navigation District have spoken and delivered a clear and decisive mandate that this board has been headed in the wrong direction with plans to turn Port Mansfield into a shipping container port. Additionally, numerous fabrications and lies posted by board member Stacy Reyes, who attempted to both slander and defame the character of local businessman turned WCND candidate Mark Brown in the process. However, the overall vote count for all precincts in which Eric Kennedy ran and won reached 2,766 against your current board chairman and only 392 votes in his favor. A clear and obvious directive from the voters that yes, the Willacy County Navigational District was headed in the wrong direction. Furthermore, candidate Mark Brown, barely losing by just 34 votes to Commissioner Lefty Canvassas, a longtime Democratic politician who has been the Willacy County Democratic Party chairman in a 99% Democratic precinct, speaks volumes to Mark Brown's message in his candidacy. They beg for common sense commerce. This is a slim margin at best and sends a strong message to the remaining board members. Additionally, Mrs. Ray's inflammatory and untrue comments about Mr. Brown's previous business practices surrounding the development at Mansfield Point, saying he did things that was illegal, begged for an apology and a contradiction. Someone please tell me how in heaven's name a sitting board member can get away with such inflammatory comments as poured out by this board member on her official public social media platform. Most would think that a board code of conduct should be in place to prevent such shenanigans. Minimally, one would also think simple decency and common sense would have also prevailed before posting such untrue and inflammatory comments meant to discredit the campaign of those against the barge container port transformation in Port Mansfield, all in an effort to discredit Mr. Brown and his contest against Mr. Cavazos. It worked, but barely. In closing, all records remain available, as per Mr. Brown's comments, for all to review. On the other side of the conversation, the board's last few years of sleazy real estate deals, a 50-year contract with a company, NAS, that has yet to pay for its lease, much less the $3 million it promised to deliver for its part of the seawall, while also trying to force a filthy container port scenario down the throats of these residents of Port Mansfield, and also the good folks of Willacy County that come here to fish and enjoy this slice of coastal paradise that has public piers and Laguna Madre access for all citizens to enjoy. We look forward to Mr. Kennedy's leadership.
Time's up, sir. Thank you very much.
Ms. Morse is going to finish my comments. Thank you.
Marcia Visser?
Marcia.
Marcia.
We look forward to Mr. Kennedy's leadership of the Willacy County Navigation District.
Speak up.
Hopefully, the board's internal reflection that yes, the barge container port was a bad idea, and it's time to move in a different direction. But please rest assured that the concerned citizens of Port Mansfield will not wither and go away. We will continue to press for the facts and transparency, and continue our efforts to prevent this board from turning a 70-year beautiful residential fishing village, an ecological gem with countless endangered species of mammals, fish, and birds, into a filthy barge container port, albatross. We have work to do and another election that will be here sooner than later. Finally, thanks to both Mr. Brown and Mr. Kennedy for helping deliver the message to right the ship. You both worked tirelessly in your campaigns with honest, above-board, day-to-day hard work in getting your message out to the public. The vote totals these two candidates sends a message. And as we move forward, both healing divisiveness and finding positive ground to agree on, let's make sure we listen to it. And remember once again that the overall vote count showed a clear public mandate that the constituents of Willacy County Navigation District are not in support of the past board's previous direction it has chosen. Clear mandate for changing that direction is yours to capitalize on as we move forward. And my personal comments beyond that are, the last time I spoke to this board, my comments were misrepresented in the meeting minutes. And I would like the opportunity to be able to correct them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is it Denise Burton?
Yes, I have something to share. In case y'all are not aware of social media like Facebook page where people make comments. There's a representation, I would imagine, on the first page even, the comments from people that supposedly would represent NAS or be involved in some of that. They've got videos they're posting of Ron in the office. They've got the next page. In 1 week, I can digital twin this whole place. Not sure what that means. Things sound aggressive. There's a 2-layer as well issues there on the third page. I've seen both sides, even darker sides of NAS, a third side. He goes on in different pages and talks about how that company has done him wrong. There's on and on, back and forth, and the comments don't seem up and up. One of them talking about having a bunch of family accounts with millions of dollars. I just would see if y'all had time to understand some of the unprofessional comments and the concerns that would be raised from doing business with somebody that unprofessional. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mark Sanchez?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Mark Sanchez. I'm from Edinburgh, Texas. It's nice to see everybody here. When I first started this journey, let me say this. People are going to hate me and love me. I'll tell you that already. The comments that she spoke about are true. My affiliation with NAS is my past history back in 2019, or 2018, actually, a little bit of 2019, more or less. But the purpose of me being here is to provide solutions and the truth. I do have rights. I was one of the first individuals here in this room before any of y'all, with all due respect. I'm here to provide solutions. I have a one-pager that I'll be ready to present. Mr. Briseño, for owner and operator out of Tampico. As the strategic plan had always said in the beginning, bring certain contacts. I'm going to show you this. So what I did, these are events. All my opposing party, and I'll pass these to you guys if that's okay. I went and did the work. I provided strategic action plans. These are the $300 million. It's a family office in Salt Lake City where I had backing. That's the smallest check that they write. I asked questions, they were never answered. If I had gotten the same terms that North American Standards had gotten, which rightfully entitled to, we would have had this already done. Now, I was very aware of the environmental studies as Mr. Briseño had made me and coached me. That's why I partnered up with Roop Patel, very well known out of Orlando. What he specializes LiDAR. Anybody familiar with LiDAR? The drones? They come, they scan. We could do 3,000 acres in 1 week. 3,000. That'll actually cut the cost of the environmental studies. I'm not here to guess. I'm here to scan. And then once we scan, we see what we can really do. This city, the poorest county, we're building a legacy. My motto was to replicate us together and empower other lower communities. We have the technology, we have the strategic partners, we're ready to go. 200 jobs is what I can bring to this city, legitimately. And I also have the rights to audit all the previous people. And I want to give the opportunity to the board to do things right. As God forgave me and saved my soul, I've been to hell and back. I'm from the county, the barrio, what they say. But I also changed my ways, and I'm here to make a positive impact. And that's where I stand. Thank you.
Item number 3, consideration and action on resolution 2024.003, canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the November 5th, 2024 general election.
I would like to apologize everybody before we begin because we just received the final thing from the elections office at 8:43 this morning. That's why we were still adding numbers and percentages when you started the meeting. So everything should be accurate as it is presented to you now.
And I will read the results. It says, I have provided the board with the final canvass report results and the total votes, and the results are: Navigation District Member at Large, Eric Kennedy. Okay. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, Eric. Okay. Eric Kennedy, 1,333 votes, or 32.70% of the votes. Mario Garcia, 943 total votes, or 29.85% of the votes. George Esteban Solis, 791 total votes, or 25.04% of the votes. Chad Kinney, 392 votes, total votes, or 12.41% of the votes. Therefore, Eric Kennedy should be declared the winner of the race with 32.70 of the 3,159 total votes casted. Navigation District Member Precinct 1, Ernesto Lefty Cavazos, 606 total votes, or 51.44% of the votes. Mark A. Brown Sr., 572 total votes, or 48.56% of the votes. Therefore, Ernesto Lefty Cavazos should be declared the winner in the race with 51.44% of the 1,178 total votes cast. Willacy County Navigation District Resolution Number 2024, a resolution of the Willacy County Navigation District, Willacy County, Texas, canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the general election held on November 5th, 2024 for the election of Commissioner at Large and Commissioner for Precinct 1. Whereas a general election was held in Willacy County, Texas on November 5th, 2024 for the purpose of electing the following positions to the Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners, sometimes called the Board, for the Willacy County Navigation District, sometimes known as WCND, Commissioner at Large and Commissioner for Precinct 1, and whereas the Willacy County Elections Division has provided to the Willacy County Navigation Board as the canvassing authority for the Willacy County Navigation District, with the election results tabulated by the election administrator, and whereas the board has examined and considered the returns of the general election held on November 5th, 2024 for the purpose specified above, and whereas it appearing from said returns duly and legally made that there were cast at said election a total of 4,337 qualified votes, and that each of the candidates in said election received the following votes: Navigation District Member at Large, again, Eric Kennedy, 1,033, Mario Garcia, 943 votes, George Esteban Solis, 791 votes, Chad Kinney, 392 votes, Navigation District Member Precinct 1, Ernesto Lefty Cavazos, 606 total votes, Mark A. Brown Sr., 572 votes. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners for the Willacy County Navigation District, Section 1, that said election was duly called, that notices of said election was given in accordance with law, and that said election was held in accordance with law. Section 2, declaration of results, Willacy County Navigation District Board. The WCND Board hereby finds, determines, and declares that a plurality of the votes at the aforesaid elections were cast in favor of the candidates named herein. The Willacy County Board, Navigation District Board hereby further declares that such persons is duly elected to the respectively identified office of the Willacy County Navigation District, subject to the taking of the official oath of office and statement of office as prescribed by laws of the state of Texas, to wit: Navigation District Commissioner at Large Eric Kennedy, Navigation District Commissioner Precinct 1 Ernesto Lefty Cavazos. Section 3, the recitals contained in the preamble hereof are hereby found to be true, and such recitals are hereby made a part of the resolution for all purposes and are adopted as a part of the judgment and findings of the Willacy County Navigation District Board. Section 4, it is hereby officially found and determined that the meeting at which this resolution was adopted was open to the public, and that public notices of the time, place, and purpose of said meeting was given as required by the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended. I have a resolution on the agenda. This is an action item.
Move to pass the resolution.
Motion made by Commissioner Hendricks,
I second the motion.
second by Commissioner Reyes. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations. At this point, we will do the swearing of the oath.
Allison has it.
Who's gonna be doing
The judge.
Good.
You don't know the judge? We're gonna do it.
We'll try to get you there. We'll be right here.
Get out of here.
You could.
Let me move that.
Come on, sir.
Come on, you're blocking the video.
Yeah, congratulations.
Sorry. I don't have anybody's way.
There's basically two
You're in her way now.
swearing ins, and one of them does not require me to be present or anybody
Oh, sorry.
that qualifies to swear them in. But nonetheless, I have made it my policy to read two in front of the public, and you'll know what I'm talking about once I read it. And I guess I'll do both of you at the same time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm gonna do the statement of appointed officer. This is the one where they just need to sign, but nonetheless, I read this in front of the public, and I'm sure you guys will feel better as well. And so I'm gonna say aye, and then you repeat your name. I
Eric Kennedy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered, promised, promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money
any money
or thing of value,
or thing of value,
or promised any public office
or promised any public office
or employment
or employment
for the giving
for the given
or withholding of a vote
or withholding of the vote,
at the election at which I was elected,
election in which I was elected,
or as a reward
or as a reward
to secure my appointment
to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the cause may be,
whichever the cause may be,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Then this is the real one. Shorter, but more important. I
I, Eric Kennedy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of office of,
the duties of office of,
and then repeat what you, it's blank, and I'm gonna let you guys repeat what you guys actually were elected in what office.
the chairman at large of
Of the state of Texas,
the state of Texas,
and will do the best of my ability
and will do the best of my ability
preserve, protect,
to serve and protect
and defend the
and
Constitution
defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. You know, Mr. Chair, I'm gonna take this opportunity to just say
Sure, go
something
right ahead,
pertaining
sir.
to what I just did.
Yes.
First of all, I want to congratulate everybody that's out there. I know that you have perhaps difference of opinions and your different beliefs and what have you, but you care for your community, which is why you're here. And believe me, you know, I serve as your county judge, and most of the time there isn't but one or two people there in the meetings. And so I take that as a compliment for you guys to be here representing your community. And then second is that for all of you that ran, I have ran being defeated, and I have ran being elected. And it's not easy to put your name and your family's name out there. So I want to congratulate the ones that did get elected, but nonetheless care enough to be able to throw their name in the hat and try to do the best for the community. Of course, I also want to congratulate the ones that did get elected, and I know that they will try their best to do what's beforehand here in the navigation district. So again, congratulations to the ones that came on top, and also thank you to the ones that did not. Thank you for being able to do what you did, and again, knowing that I've been defeated and tried again is continue to try. Continue to try if that's in your heart. Thank you.
He's gonna sign the notary spot? He's gonna sign the notary or?
So he needs to.
Okay.
Oh, the notary did.
This is different, yeah. All right.
Judge,
Thank you, appreciate it.
This,
Thank you.
your seat.
Let me get my notebook. Excuse me.
Congratulations.
Get my water. Before I sit down, I'd like to make a couple of comments. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. Really big honor for me. And all the support that was given during the election, can't thank you enough. So I got some special guests here. Senator-elect Adam Hinojosa. Thank you for taking time out of his busy schedule to stop by. And also want to direct the board. I really look forward to working with you folks. I think we can get a lot of good things done and move forward. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Give me a second. I've had 30 seconds.
They get your bearings? Yeah.
Item number 5, review of statutory guidelines and requirements of the WCND as per Texas legislative guidelines.
Thank you. This is just, I was asked by a couple of board members just to kind of do a general, since it's all starting over.
Sure.
To kind of do a general statutory cover of what we're supposed to do or can or can't do or whatever.
Mr. Mills, before you start, if I may, I did ask for this item on the agenda. One of the things that I've learned in my time as we're dealing with whatever activities we're dealing with, it's always good to be reminded the why, the purpose. I've run multiple programs across the country and in another country, and I would always tell my team, you need to remember why we exist. It's not what Trevino wants. I wish sometimes it was. But it's what the letter of the law, the statutory that guides this thing, whether I'm running a program across the country or here at the port, is what does the law say? And we always need to revert back to that. So that was the impetus behind reviewing this statutory guideline. Thanks, sir.
Basically, we fall under a couple of categories. Under the General Constitution, under Article 16 of Section 52, that authorizes us as a navigation district to
59.
exist. I'm sorry?
59.
I'm sorry, 59. I apologize. So, this is 56 years. Let me get fixed. And then the Water Code, Chapter 60 and 62. And for those who are not really familiar, because it's probably the most convoluted thing there is in the state of Texas, is the Water Code. And it's 3 separate volumes, and 2 of them apply here. And then we have an appointed group of PUD, falls under a separate guideline. So this group actually has input on a lot of different water code issues. The district may construct turning bases, storage and yacht basins, harbors, facilities which may, in the judgment of the commission, be necessary or useful in the development and utilization of a waterfront project for navigational purposes or in navigation purposes. They may own and lease dredges and other equipment. And under Section 62-101, the purpose of the district may be created under the chapter to provide in or adjacent to its boundaries the improvement, preservation, conservation of inland waterways and for navigation, which I would like to input on that because it was brought to my attention that people didn't seem to hear me on several different occasions mention that we've spent over $750,000 in the last 2 years for environmental studies. Environmental studies here are part of our life. And so we have a company called Stantec that we've paid over $500,000 to just to do biological assessments of manta rays and manatees and seagrass and so on and so forth. So we're definitely falling under that. The control and distribution of stormwater and floodwater, fortunately for us, almost everything runs down the ditch that didn't make it to Port Mansfield, but it's still, and it falls under a different irrigation district, so we don't have to deal with it, but it is part of our process. Any other purpose necessary to incidental to the navigation of inland and coastal waterways, and the aid to those purposes. And then the last thing that was in this was basically about the ownership of the properties, but it's not really relevant. But the main thing is we do have guidelines, strict guidelines that say our purpose, what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to be trying to develop and or not develop. It actually has specific cannots that I don't have on this presentation, but most of those have to do with municipality things. We can't do certain things that municipal governments can do. But otherwise, that's our basic premise for who we are and why we're here, what we're doing, where we're trying to go, and where we came up with these ideas of commercial development and so forth came from these guidelines.
So, Mr. Mills, I perused through our website and I couldn't find the statutory guidelines
Okay, we
in
can
there.
put it on there, absolutely.
We need to make sure that they're there so that everyone can know. And as a Lacerian and my constituents, as we were going through, they would say, why am I paying taxes for Port Mansfield?
Right.
And don't tell me it's about fishing, because I go to South Padre and I fish and I don't pay taxes over there.
Correct.
So, and when I would explain to them, it says, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So let's make sure that that is published in our website and that we share the reasons of why we're doing what we're doing. And we're gonna do it responsibly, and we're gonna do it
Sure.
as we need to.
Absolutely.
As stated by statute.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I have.
Okay. Next item, discussion of possible action instructing the executive court director to enter into a contract with a third-party independent auditor to review all lease rates and all leasehold property.
I was asked to pursue the idea of having a third-party auditor review all lease files, which I'm totally and completely on board with. I think it's a great idea. Commentary that was made at the beginning of the meeting about Ms. Reyes saying this and that, allegations that were made on the concerned citizen page against a former commissioner about what he did or didn't get is out there floating around. So I would like you guys as a group to authorize me to pursue the hiring of a third-party auditor to review all leases, every lease, commercial and or residential, for the entire community, all 897 of them or whatever it is, and make sure the lease rates are correct. I know from having gone through this process here in the last month or two, trying to verify information, I know of at least 3 that I believe are not correct. It needs to be verified by somebody else, but I believe they're not currently correct. And so I would like for them to audit every single account and let us know which ones we believe are wrong or right.
I requested that item on the agenda. I am a firm believer that part of our commission duties is to make sure that we dot the I and cross the T on not only state and local laws, but also policies and procedures that are enacted and passed by this commission. I want to make sure that everyone understands that we're doing due diligence in terms of complying and following through with everything that has been passed, either prior or current, in terms of actions taken by this commission. We have enacted and we have been doing these audits, financial audits, but we felt that it was important to go deeper and specifically in rates. We get this, as commissioners, elected officials, we get all bombarded by different things. Why is he paying so much and not him? Why, and the way I respond to that is, let's put it on an agenda item and let's look at everything objectively. So that I'm not giving misinformation, but rather it's factual information of why. And we are human. Might have been that somebody missed something, and that's why they put that eraser on that pencil. We're gonna correct it, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna move forward. As we have found some previous problems from many years ago. But the point that I wanna make is I want, in this particular, I want someone from the outside coming in, looking at our books.
I agree with that.
And so I make the motion that, Mr. Mills, you solicit quotes and bids for service, and that you bring them to the board for approval for that entity to come and do that service. Okay?
I'd like to add something to that. I agree with you, we need an audit, but I think if we're gonna do just lease and leaseholders, we need to do a complete forensic audit. Land property that's been sold, match everything up with payments that's been made for properties. Complete audit.
Easily.
We start with a clean slate.
So
Does this really include like these?
so the audit, so I know I made a motion, correct me here.
Yeah, you made a motion. I did not hear a second.
Oh, she was in the process.
Yeah, so since I made a motion, I'm in agreement. I think we're looking at, when we talk about lease agreements, let me expand what I'm thinking about in this. It's any and all, if a lease agreement, there's a transfer of land and property, was it paid, who paid, it involves everything.
Everything.
Absolutely.
So let's make that very clear in my motion, that is inclusive of the whole transaction process,
Yes, sir.
okay? That's my motion.
But motion made by Commissioner Trevino and seconded by Commissioner Cavazos. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Port Director's report.
For a couple of months now, I've been working on trying to line up some kind of a long-term public relations contract with somebody. We've had two so far, and they're so far off the end of the spectrum from each other and what they want. One wants $20,000 a month, and stuff that we can't even consider even bringing before you for review. I have one other company that's been provided to me from our legal office to contact, and I'm going to be looking for another office that I heard about that's in the valley, hoping to find some more. So hopefully within the next 30 days, really, I'd love to do it for the December meeting. I'm hoping to have some kind of PR thing that I can present to you guys for some firm to take over the PR portion of our organization. The next item is canceled. Every one of those leases is paid as of yesterday. That's one of the reasons I put it on here, and it works. So everybody's current, so we will see where we go from there.
What about,
the one under lot 44 and 45, we'll end up mowing the yards and then we'll bill for it. So, but he's paid it up current.
he in breach with the contract
Well,
of his lease because he has not kept his property.
no, that's correct, and we will
So
start to
we're
send it
gonna
in.
take that back, right?
We can start the process of taking it back
I
now.
thought the
We were-
process has already been started 5 months ago.
Because we started the process and taking it back because he wasn't making payments. But we never said, oh, your property's in deterioration, so on and so forth. So now I'll send him a note saying, hey, your
So
property's
now we got
deteriorating.
another 6 months.
Oh, it won't be 6 months, but yes, we started the process.
Yep.
The next thing on here is the youth hunts. Somebody asked for the dates and the times. They had the first one last weekend. Let's see where I put the paper.
You have a copy of those?
I have a handwritten note that I can make sure I send you guys a copy of them.
Yeah, I'll have a copy.
Let me see if I can find my handwritten note here.
Ron, before you move to the one, I just want some clarification on the second bullet. What I heard you say is that the first move was because of payments to lease, but now is for.
Well, this one particular property is greatly deteriorated. It needs to be addressed. It's overgrown, but the building itself is in bad shape, particularly the outbuildings are in really bad condition.
So the notices that we gave was based on what?
For not payment of.
For not paying.
Paying a lease.
But
So-
never for this other.
No, because I was 100% confident until yesterday they weren't gonna pay, but they surprisingly made the payment yesterday because they're trying to find a legal way to sell the property. And so they just decided to bring it up to date so they could sell the property. So that's fine, but now he has another problem. And that is that his property is in bad condition and needs to be addressed.
So we need to notify him.
So we'll just notify him that that's a problem and start the process from there.
Thank you.
Youth hunts, the first one was last week. They're doing it slightly different this time over previous years, or I think they did it the same last year. But officially, what they're doing is on Friday evening, they're having orientation for 5 kids, and on Saturday, those 5 kids go out, and then on Saturday evening, they do another 5 kids, and on Sunday morning, those kids go out. Totally 10 kids a weekend, same as it always was, they're just doing it in a different manner. Each kid is getting authorization for 2, and so that potentially is 20 deer per week. We had last weekend, the weekend of the 22nd through the 24th, and the weekend of December the 6th through the 8th. I asked them to do 2 in December and 1 in January. I do not have a second December or a January date yet. I may be having to do with their staff not being available, but as of now, those are the 3 that are scheduled. So the week of the 9th, 10th, or 8th to 10th is already finished. 22nd to the 24th is coming up right after Thanksgiving, and the 6th through the 8th. And again, each time it'll be a Friday evening orientation, Saturday morning shoot, then Sunday or Saturday evening orientation, Sunday morning shoot. One other thing that's different than in the past, we have everybody from the federal government and state government have been coming to me about the overabundance of nilgai in town, that they're a problem. We're probably the biggest spreader of the tick problem that they're having is more than the deer, is the nilgai. We've been like, okay, well, I don't want just a bunch of people out there shooting nilgai. So what they offered to do is to use a youth hunt insurance plan to cover us. They have kids that are older, that are still part of the youth hunt, like 16, 17-year-olds, that they can bring out, and let's say we decide we want to get rid of, let's hypothetically say 40 nilgai. They'll let those kids take 20 or so, and then they're going to help us work on a lottery. So local citizens can be drawn in a lottery to take out some of them, and that lottery will be insured by them. I mean, those hunters will be insured by them. So we don't take any liability for people, adults that are not normally covered. That will be covered for that as well. So we'll be able to get a nilgai hunt in, but we're not even going to address it until after hunting season because there's no season for nilgai, so we can do it any time. So we'll do nilgai sometime in the spring probably.
So how many deer are we harvesting this year for the youth hunt?
If everything was to play out correctly and everybody shows up and everybody has 2 deer, it'll be roughly 200. We started out with the estimate of 500 and something in town.
The farmers, how many we can?
That ain't even
Just 8
close.
The guy that rides around the truck out there.
Yeah, well, he's actually from animal. Yeah, that. He has input into it, but the actual state game department, Fish and Game, they're the one that actually says, hey, this property should have this many. For example, for all of Port Mansfield, by state standards, we should only have 164 deer.
And how many do we have?
Over 500.
I met with one of the biologists for Texas Parks and Wildlife recently in an event that we had, and he said in order to maintain is you need to be harvesting a minimum of 30% of your population. A minimum.
If we take 200 deer this year,
He also suggested might be something to consider for the next season. He says if you're doing youth hunts, you're not going to have enough. You're not going to harvest enough. He says you may consider doing, and you mentioned that a voucher system or a ticket system, a lottery system for adults only.
Right.
He says, and he says you guys are sitting on a ticking time bomb for chronic waste disease to come in, and then you are in a huge trouble.
we have a new veterinarian who was hired by the state for animal control. She's been out there. She actually has a lease, several leases in Port Mansfield. She's been out there regularly. She contacts me probably once a month and talks to me about it. She's on top of it. She's trying to make sure we don't have any issues.
Really?
Yes, sir.
2 questions. One, is who setting parameters around what's shootable and what's not shootable?
The youth hunt uses state standards, whatever the state of Texas says. That's what they prescribe to these kids when they go out there.
Which is just about, Willacy County is pretty open.
You gotta do that, anything with the horn is legal.
Pretty much, yeah. And we're also doing.
That's not where we need to be.
Well, we need to be hunting doe, and they know that, and they're
Well,
all.
I agree with that, but I mean, somebody's gotta step up and say, this is
My
how we
understanding
want the
was
program
they
run.
were supposed to shoot cold deer.
Yeah,
Not any.
does and cubs.
Right.
And eventually, even your big ones are gonna start going down, you're gonna have to take them out.
Right.
But we need a program that we agree to let them execute, not what they wanna do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think we
Here,
can
here.
do that through the contracts that we sign with these people. We can stipulate conditions
Well, yeah,
as we
we
have.
can just verbally tell them,
Yeah,
they'll
we
do
have
whatever we ask them to do.
Well,
They're
but-
not
But
bad
we're just
people.
letting them use the state
I
standards.
don't,
so-
yeah, but I don't want to verbally do it. When they come into a contract for the season, we need to stipulate these
This
are
is
the
what we want.
deers we want out.
Okay.
Leave these alone, put these, this is our,
Absolutely.
Give us a rundown of what they've taken, like so many dogs.
At the end of the season, they do. They don't tell me every week. But they have a new boss now that's running the thing. I'm sure, and he has a really good relationship with Frank because he makes arrangements for burying, hides and stuff. We can make sure that they
Can we get
get
an
all of
update
it.
for the next meeting?
Absolutely.
I got another question.
Sure.
So, you said there's 5 use pump one day and then 5 use pumps the next day.
That's right. So
Each
that's-
one in the last 2 years.
So it's 10 and 10. So
Okay, so that would be 20 per
20.
weekend.
correct. And
So
there's
how
5
do you get
weekends.
200 deer shot?
Oh, no, that
Did the
Miss
math.
Miss Gath don't mind. So, but yeah, it's going to be roughly
Yeah, I
500.
came up with
60 deer.
Yeah, 60. No,
Yep.
if it's 20 per weekend, and
There's
now
3
you're right.
weekends left.
This one, there's 3. That's correct. But they're supposed to do 5. The goal is to do 5.
So that's 100.
Yes. Our goal is to get 5 hunts.
So we're still 100 short.
Yeah, theoretically. I think the biggest problem
I
is
will
that-
share that the new director for Texas Youth Hunt did send out an email saying we want our Willacy County kids get first choice
Correct.
of those hunts.
They did do it.
And how are they reaching out to them? Do you know?
Through the school agriculture
schools.
departments and things like that. 'Cause they're going to the ag
Yes.
teachers and stuff. All right. Somebody asked me to bring up the status on those TechStop grants that are way behind. At one time, we were $700,000 behind on getting repaid. Now we're $308,000 behind. No payments this week, right, Virginia? So we're $308,000 behind, but before the end of the month, we expect $220,000 of that 308 to come in. So we're getting much closer to our being current with the state, or the state being current with us. So we're not behind with them.
Would you explain that process of how the
Sure.
grant money is distributed?
Sure. What happens is the state was changed now. It's gonna change again next year, but I'll tell you what it is right now. The way Texas or TechStop grants are supposed to work is they come up, they take everything that every port in the state of Texas wants, and they take it to a group called the PAC, which is the Port Authority Advisory Committee, which I used to sit on until about a year ago. And then I asked for somebody to take my spot, and I still attend their meetings. What the PAC does is they take every one of those requests from every port, and they look at them and they break them down by priority. Then they have whatever amount of money they're going to get from the state legislature, and they break it up into each of the projects.
So we needed.
Last time was the first time in the history of the state of Texas a large amount of money was given to ports, ever. The fund was set up in 2018, but no money had ever been put into it. Two legislative cycles ago, they gave it $20 million for 26 ports. Not going to go very far when these projects into tens of millions of dollars. So the last cycle, they did $380 million that was to be spread up between the ports. And in that process, they came up with, for our case, it was our seawall bulkhead project. The original agreement between us and them was that they were going to give us $11.3 million. Okay, the $11.3 million, that means we have a 20% cost share on that. So what they did was they decided that ports didn't have to match cost share. So they resubmitted all the agreements and sent us an agreement saying that they were going to give us $8.7 million. What's the difference? Well, the way it works traditionally, if you have like an $11.3 million grant, your money gets paid first. So you're already vetted into the process. And then the state starts taking off. Well, now what they're doing is saying, okay, you get $8.7 million and we pay everything you give to us until the $8.7 million runs out, and then you're on your own. So if it goes over, it goes over. So what happens is, and I'll use the one we're having the most issues with right now, is the road Navigation Drive. When Navigation Drive was administered to us, it's a $2.3 million project. So what we do is it's supposed to be once a month. The contractor submits a payment to our project manager, which is our engineer. Project manager reviews it, makes sure it's correct, submits it to me. I review both of their processes, I sign off on it, and I give it to Virginia. Virginia writes a check for the amount on the request. That copy of that check has to clear the bank. Hard copy. Bizarre rules they started this year. Used to be you just had to go in there and show that it was had been processed. Now it actually has to have hard copy, which slows the process down by weeks when they do that. Okay, so we submit the payment, or we make the payment, we submit it to our project manager, and project manager sits on it until something comes back from the bank to us. Then they submit it to the state, And then the state reviews it and almost every time kicks it back for something that the project manager didn't get right. So now we're a month past our original check writing date. Then it goes back to the state again, sometimes as many as 3 times. And then it goes to the state for payment. The state person processes and submits it for payment. The state says they have 90 days to pay it. They don't take that. They usually pay it 30 days or less. But there was a time period back in the February-March timeframe where all TxDOT accounts were under audit. So February, March, April timeframe, every TxDOT project in the state of Texas was behind because they were being audited for some kind of review. I don't know what it was for. So that slowed us down. That's when we started getting behind. We also had a very short term. We had a state project manager that was reviewing our cases who said that you could only submit it once a month and you could only submit it on certain days, which is contrary to normal practices, because normal practices you just submit it to them and they hold it until they get whatever they need and they submit it. Well, our engineer started holding papers for 60 days or so. So he put the process behind 60 days to start and then the same process with the state. So that's how we got behind this time. But typically, what happens is we submit it to the engineer sends it to the state, within a week or 2 they get their back and forth, it goes in for payment and we get payment. They will pay, in this case, until we reach 2.3 million. We are at about 2.15 right now for that project with whatever concrete has left to be done. So anything beyond 2.3 we'll have to cover, which will probably be about $200,000 will be above and beyond the contract to get the road finished and get the concrete out there. The next item on here, similar process, is the seawall. It was submitted, posted in the paper and at the engineering websites. It was posted in August for a September closing. Excuse me. I think it was October the 28th. I can't remember. Is when we had an opening here at the office. We received 4 bid packages. 4 bid packages were open. The state has $8.7 million set aside for that project. I have not seen the numbers. I just heard what was read aloud at the opening, but I believe it was 9.4. So for $400,000, our share will be to get both seawalls built. The original seawall projection was $11.5 million. So the fact that it came in at 9.3 or whatever it is a miracle in and of itself. And so, before the price was so high, my projection was that we were going to do one of the 2 areas, and now we'll probably be able to do both of the areas with the amount of money because they came in. The reason we're getting lucky on the cost is because the same company who won the bid is doing Brownsville. Brownsville contract is hundreds of millions of dollars, and for their seawall and their liquid LNG project and all that. And so the money that's being spent on the LNG in Brownsville saves them money so they could bid at a much lower price than somebody who's just bidding for 50 pieces of steel pile for us. So the price has been
What did you say our cost is on the seawalls?
on the seawall, I suspect it's going to be about $600,000, $700,000. Our portion.
Where are we gonna get that money?
We have it in.
Because now you're 600 there, 200 on the road.
Yeah, we're about
Almost $1
$700,000 or
million.
$800,000. That's correct.
Yeah.
We have the funds to cover it. We just prefer not to. And so the whole idea is to have a VC, in this case North American Standard, their cost share potentially would cover that cost. So all these improvements are for their benefit. So it should be them taking it out of high. So that's the goal. So, and I think that's.
Army Corps of dredging plans?
Thank you. All right. So the Corps of Engineers finally made it public what they're planning to do with our funds. I had convinced them to take the 2024 funds and move them to 2025, mainly because not a lot of good to dredge a channel when there's no purpose to go through the cut, because it's going to shoal in almost immediately, and we all know that. So I asked them to take it to 2025. So what they've decided, so that they match with the seawall bulkhead project timeline more or less, is June they expect to let the contract for bids. August they expect to close and award. And October they expect to start work. They expect it to be a 2-month max 3-month project, because the only thing they're really working on is between the jetties. The rest of the channel is still pretty clear. And so it'll be June let it, August award it, October start work. So roughly this time next year, we'll have a clear channel all over to the
How
Gulf.
much money are we talking about?
15.9 is what's in their budget. Didn't cost us anything. They actually had 2.7 million still in our till, so we basically have $18 million to do the job.
And that's, I know we have a recognition for Congressman Gonzalez for helping us with that one.
Correct.
And,
Yeah. He went back to Washington yesterday, so I didn't get to get before he left town. When he comes back to town.
Are they gonna dredge the mouth of the harbor?
The goal is to bring it all the way to zero, which basically is where the North Boat Ramp is, more or less, in that area. So from the North Boat Ramp all the way to the Gulf should be dredged. Should be 17 feet to the jetties and 23 feet between the rocks.
and the spillage on that one is gonna go where?
About half of it will go to the national park.
Okay.
We're in the final phases of creating a memorandum of understanding with National Park between us and them, which the Corps said they will honor. The problem is, in the past, the Corps doesn't have to follow any of these rules. Literally. They can do what they want, where they want, when they want. So, the Corps, in the past, has had butted heads with the National Seashore, because when they dump materials on the beach, they just kind of mound it up. Well, that doesn't help the turtles get in and out of the water. So, Stantec, as far as our environmental program, has come up with a drawing that covers 5 miles of the beach, properly laid out, tapers and all this other stuff so the turtles can get in and out. We're in the final stages of getting that finalized. Once that's done, the Corps says they will accept that and they will do what the project says. So that makes the national park happy with us. And we don't have any fallout. The Bossers, they go and clean the beach every year and all that. They're already excited about that. Now they want to be able to get their turtles in and out. So that's part of it. The rest of it, they haven't decided yet, but most likely what's going to happen is it's going to be deposited over here on this side. They haven't deposited there since 64, I think it was. Well, that's not true. In the 70s, they built a weir right in this area, and that weir's still there.
It's still there.
So they're saying that now that they know we're still there, they're probably going to dump there. The original plan, this island was built to receive all the channel material. The problem is that they were supposed to take 5 dredging cycles to fill that. They overfilled it first try. So there's no more places to put the material. So they came to me begging for a place to put it, and we really don't have a good place to put it. So they're going to probably place it here. The other area, all those islands there, on those islands. There are also, if you look at any map, government map of the Intercoastal Waterway, it shows that all along here is a wonderful bunch of islands that all the fishermen here know don't exist anymore. They're all under about that much water or more. So what they're thinking about doing is some of this material here, start rebuilding those islands so they can make rookery islands, and those birds will have a place to nest and to root. So that's probably going to be probably not this dredging cycle, but any future dredging cycles, it'll be dumped in that area. So it increases the bird habitat, so on and so forth.
It really messes up some good fishing spots too.
Yeah, it does. No doubt about it.
Anybody got any more questions for Ron?
Sure.
Review and discussion on building authorizations issued for the month of October 2024.
I don't think it's like these are buildings. I don't think there's
Okay.
buildings. Oh, there was?
Yeah.
Oh, she got one. Okay, there's 4 of them.
And you've lived through all of this, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can I make a motion?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Oh, no, this is not.
It's just to let you know what's going
Okay,
on.
good job.
That's it right there.
There you go.
Chad Green. See the drawing there. The silver. Yep.
I don't think that's something.
There's no action. Let's move on to the next.
I gotta get back to work. review and consideration of residential commercial transfer of leases, both small lease transfers and collateral transfers of lease. They're all sitting right here, and I really think it'd be a good idea for the commissioners to
Just bought us.
read these before we approve them, because there's,
Well, it'd take you forever to read them.
well, I mean, they need to at least look through them and if there's any questions, because, and I think our legal folks ought to look through them too, make sure everything's done correctly.
So the lease agreements, the lease agreements are the standard agreements
Same ones we always done.
that we've approved,
That's right.
that legal has looked at.
They've actually redesigned some of them, so.
Okay, I know we've revised them.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand the process on that, so that's why I'm asking.
So it is a approved boilerplate.
That's
lease
correct.
agreement,
Absolutely.
That if there's any, and I wanna make this point, that if there's any deviation to any of those,
Correct.
that it has to come to the
And
commission
you
for
are
approval.
advised of it, that's correct. That's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
Yeah, anything that gets put in special provisions, you're told.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a motion.
I move to accept.
You make a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, motion's made by Senator, by Commissioner Kendrick and seconded by Commissioner, Cavazos, excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, review, consideration, of checks and vouchers, and any discussion or comments on the monthly budget report.
Anything out of the ordinary?
Not that I can recall, sir. I don't remember anything.
The only thing I saw on there, $108,000 in contract.
Right, and we'll get that back to the state.
That's the contractors doing the road.
That's correct.
It's a cost reimbursement process.
That's correct. After that one, we may not get reimbursed, but depends on where we are in the 3.3 million, 2.3 million, but as of right now, we still get money back.
Who is it? CSRC.
CSRS?
Yeah.
CSRS is our engineering firm out of Louisiana that's doing the seawall project. CRI is the auditors.
When are they going?
I haven't heard from them. I suspect it'll be about next month's meeting. Usually it's in December, or it has become that normal anyway.
And they are, so they're gonna present, are they doing the audit or what's going on with it?
CRI is doing their audit, and the one they do every year, and they're almost done with it. They were, the only thing they were waiting on was the GASB thing, which is that lease thing that started 2 years ago that we have that Fossil Consulting helps compile the numbers for.
Okay.
And they have that. They have that now, so all they have to do is tie that into the rest of the audit, which we haven't been asked to contribute to for almost a month now. So hopefully by the December meeting, CRI should be on there.
And I know there was an item on the agenda on it, but is CRI able to do an in-depth, ongoing, I know they do sampling.
Yes, I have asked them to give me an appraisal of value, of actual value, but not an audit of the files. I can ask them if they will do an audit of the files. If they're willing to do that, gives us some, going out.
If it can become standard process
Yeah.
from here on, so that when we renew their contract, we can add that into
Correct.
it.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
All right.
On Grimbury, is that,
That's a
animal?
police department thing, and it was either for body armor or something with the dog, but I suspect it's body armor.
That engineering stuff, CSRS, I know that, those funds are being provided to us, right? How much engineering do they do? How many dollars do they?
So
expect?
far, it's cost us about 800-something thousand. We'll get some of that back, but we won't get all that back, because before, if it's pre-award, certain things are covered and some things are not. But we'll get most of that money back. So total, we'll have about 800,000 tied up with them, and we'll get a percentage of that. I suspect at least half, not more of that back. And then from that date forward, everything is covered by the grant.
So 800,000 of engineering expense?
Absolutely.
We're in the wrong business.
Absolutely, I agree with you. That's a fact.
How about 250 million and you get 30%?
Yeah.
Yellow County.
assume that whoever's funding that picks the engineering firm?
No, we picked it.
We picked it, they were the lowest bid?
No, they were the ones who wrote the grant that was awarded to us. And so I said, if you got the grant, then run with it. So our local engineering firm has still not completed. I remember about a year and a half ago, I showed you we had 11 files with them that none of them, some of them were as many as 3 years old, had never been completed. We're still not finished with some of those files, so it was time to find a new engineering firm. So we have gone with CSRS because they wrote the grant and got the grant approved.
So the previous one,
Fairs and
Flint.
Flint. And they're still doing a couple of cases for us, but
Yeah. I want to make a motion to accept.
What are professional fees?
professional fees are engineers.
Okay, that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I move that we accept the checks and vouchers as presented.
Motion made by Commissioner Trevino and seconded by Commissioner Reyes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Move to adjourn.
I second.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Where's the seawall? Where's it going?
The seawall bulkhead
Y'all
is,
talk about it, but we don't have a clue where it is.
basically it's where the queuing yard, the big concrete pad, it's the parking lot, everybody calls it. That is half of it. And then the other side where the ramp is, where they used to put aggregate back in the day, on the other, between the boat ramp and Chad's, the blue house, right there, where the boats used to be sitting up on the bank.
So it's not those silver lined areas right
No,
there.
it's the first silver line area here. The primary one is this one, and the other one is this one. So it'll cover these two areas. This one is the primary, obviously, to us. This is 500 and some odd, 5 point something million, and this is about 3 million.
So it is land between the marine. Does the permits cover all that?
Absolutely, they do. Yep. The Corps of Engineers issued them themselves.
Come back later and something was right in the lease.